But here's the real deal, right? Instead of doing something simple like stacking up rosters and being like, oh, Georgia's the number one team in the country because they got the most elite units, okay, because they do. They got the most elite units across the board in terms of, hey, their D-line unit's better than Alabama's and Ohio State's. Their quarterback room is push. Their running back room is whatever. Their wide receiver room is whatever. Their DBB room is better. Their linebacker room is better. Their offensive line room is better. Like, we could do that. We could sit here and we could do that type of analysis, and I honestly think that analysis is a little bit boring, and I almost fell into the trap of doing it. So instead of doing that, I'm going to do this. Let's talk about which of these programs has an opportunity to overcome their issues, right? And all three of them have very similar issues, mainly sharing in common one. They're replacing starters, right? Most of them multi-year starters. All of them multi-year starters. Okay, so let's start with Bama. Bama obviously has their major quarterback issues right now, okay? And like I told you, that schedule to start the season in which they don't know who's going to be starting quarterback, and by the way, nobody on roster has starting experience or really massive playing experience. I think Tyler Buchner has 60 career attempts. Jalen Milroe probably has something similar. Okay, Jalen Milroe, no career starts. Tyler Buchner, 2. That's it. That's all that's in that room right now. Okay, and as I told you just a couple minutes ago, Texas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, 6 of their first 8 weeks of the season. Okay, think about that. Tyler Buchner, whose only career starts have come against South Carolina and I want to say Illinois or whoever was on that Notre Dame slate last year. Think about that. Jalen Milroe, whose only really game experience was when Bryce Young got hurt against Arkansas and the week after that. Okay. I don't know if Bama will stumble. Okay, I don't know. It's hard to sit here in the beginning of the year and say Bama's going to stumble. But, man, that's a really, really hard slate to overcome if you don't have consistency at the quarterback. You're not going to be able to just line up and bully ball people 7 weeks in a row on that slate. That's a really tough-ass opening to a season when you don't know and you don't have stability at the quarterback position. Okay, so of all three of these football teams that we're going to talk about tonight that are competing for this quote-unquote number one spot, college football, in the last year of actual perfection being a prerequisite, by the way, reminiscing this, folks, these discussions don't mean a hill of damn beans next year. Next year, we're going to be talking about on this channel whether it's 11 or 12 or 13 or whether we should take UCF over fucking Temple. That's what we're going to be doing next year. So y'all just wait on that. Right now, we get to argue about these big boys and what separates the elites of the elites. And right now, Bama is 3 on these 1, 2, 3s for that reason. They got a hard-ass slate to start the football season, and I don't know if they survive it with quarterback questions abundant. Okay, so let's move on to Ohio State. Ohio State obviously has quarterback questions of themselves. Kyle McCord or my man's from Clemson or man's from California that I'm running out of brain width and bandwidth for this weekend or tonight. Okay, but here's the bottom line about Ohio State, and you guys know this. Lord knows they don't get tested but once out of the year, and every once in a while, college football gods will bless us with 2 tests for Ohio State. In the last couple of years, they've been doing it. They got Notre Dame week 4 or week 5, I believe it is. Notre Dame week 4, and then they got Michigan November 25th. And you know what? They're going to be all right. They're going to beat the shit out of Youngstown State, and then they can line up just like they did last year, and they can out-talent Notre Dame because that's what – I mean, they can out-talent, figure it out, not have a great game from their quarterback, and win. You know how I know? Because that's exactly what happened last year. They showed up flat. They didn't really have answers the whole first half, and then, boom, all of a sudden, wide receivers start making plays. They put a couple drives together, and they score. That's Ohio State football, ladies and gentlemen, and that shit ain't changing. They gonna have it this year there as well. So yes, there's Penn State on the schedule, and Penn State tends to grab one of these guys every year, right? They tend to either, and last year they didn't, year before that they didn't. So let's not talk about Penn State like this. But Penn State every once in a while is that team that nabs Michigan or nabs Ohio State. I don't know if this year is going to be the year that happens. Okay. But it's not a gruesome schedule, as you know, not to mention whichever quarterback steps up and steps in that system, that dude gets to throw to the best receiver in the sport. That's it. That dude gets to stand in there and have a brilliant offensive mind that designs really, really easy concepts, pick and stick concepts. What does that mean? That means he gets to pick his receiver, stick on it. If that dude ain't open, we got a backside hot, and you just immediately flip over and you check that ball out. Pick and stick. That's what they do. It's not really, really complicated. It's designed for consistency and explosivity. That's what it's designed about. It's designed around elite receivers and a quarterback that can just put it on the spot. Okay, just be accurate. That's all. We're gonna make the decisions for you. We're gonna give you half-field reads. We're not gonna make it hard. Pick and stick. Be accurate. Okay, so it's not a really, really tough transition for a football team. But here's what I will tell you: after we just poked all kinds of holes in Ohio State, 2 tackles gone. First-round tackle, third-round tackle, yadios. Center gone. Edge rusher, third-round pick, gone. Quarterback, gone. Slot receiver, gone. Number 2 receiver, gone. There's a lot of losses. There's a lot to replace at a program that really only recruits at an elite level at 2 positions, right? 2 positions. Wide receiver, quarterback. That's it. Okay, all those other things they got to replace, they replace them with Jimmys and Joes right now, not like superstars like they used to. The days of the Bosa boys running through and playing edge at Ohio State are gone. Jack Sawyer, that's about it. Jack Sawyer is a really good football player, but he is not a Bosa. He is not a Chase Young. He is not one of these. Okay, so I think Ohio State's got a lot of questions in and of their right, or, rightfully so, to be asked about them, which brings us to Georgia. Like I already told you, Georgia has the best offensive line in the country. So every person that is going into this season kind of casting doubt over Georgia, why is it? They're doing it for 2 reasons. One, starting with Carson Beck. Nobody likes that guy for some reason. I don't get it. They fit to change. Because it's gonna take like 4 weeks, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, look at what this Georgia quarterback's doing. He's only throwing 5 incompletions in the first 3 weeks of the season." It's gonna happen. You watch. But for some reason, people doubt him, and that's fine. Okay, but not unlike they're doing the rest of them. And the other reason is the coordinator change, right? Monken out, Bobo in. There's a lot of questions. I don't know if you know this, but I don't necessarily think like national media is like out here hyping up Bobo, right? Prime example. You people listening to this right now, not to do the you people thing. People listening tonight, did you know that Ohio State lost an offensive coordinator and that Ohio State's got a first-year play designer and play caller in the headsets right now in Brian Hartline? Did y'all know that? You probably didn't. You probably didn't because you're not out here like really, really deep diving the Ohio State stuff. But you probably also don't know that because the Pete Thamels of the world ain't out here, bickering about it. Or the Desmond Howards aren't on ESPN Game Day, College Game Day, talk about, well, I don't know if Brian Hartline can call plays. I don't know. They don't know. They don't do that, right? But there we go. All the changes in the world. But back to Georgia. Georgia's got an elite offensive line, right? A schedule that sees just one ranked opponent in the first 5 weeks, and that ranked opponent is South Carolina at home. So it ain't like they got a murderer's row either. We just shit all over Ohio State's schedule. I'd argue that Georgia's is just as easy, if not easier, this year with the way the SEC East has come out. Georgia has to have their shit together offensively by mid-November, okay? And once mid-November hits and they got to play Ole Miss at home and then they got to go to Knoxville, Tennessee, if they don't have their house in order offensively in those 2 games, they might see some struggles. But other than that, they got all the time in the world to figure out who they are and what they are offensively. So if you're listening tonight and you're wondering, hey, who should preseason be the number 1 ranked team in the country? Let's take aside what teams did last year. Let's take aside what teams have on their roster and how talented they are. Let's take aside what you think about each quarterback room and each quarterback battle that is abundant at Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. Look at the schedule. Look how it presents itself. And just ask yourself, which one of these football teams who has to figure out who they are has the rightful opportunity to do so? Okay, and you will come to find really, really quickly, it's Ohio State and it's Georgia. Alabama's first 8 weeks are hellsome for a football program that has no idea what they're about to do at quarterback. For the Film Guy Network, for Brooks Austin, for the camera switchy thing, for the sliding scale majiggy, for patreon.com/Brooks Austin, I love you. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Boy, that show was gas. We'll see you. Oh, hey there. What you just watched was a portion of our live broadcast, Nothing But Rants, NBR, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. They're not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. If you want to join us live, we are live Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. here on the channel. Please subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you like it, there's probably more in one of these windows. We'll see you next time.